All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Family Friday webinar series. This is your first time joining. My name is Karina Aguilera Dickens, and I am the Assistant Director for Parent and Family Programs and Campus Life at Emory. Today, we have invited our inaugural Executive Director for a brand new Center for Student Wellbeing designed to help students practice overall well-being and student flourishing. As always, all of our webinar and program information is always available at family.emory.edu. The webinars page also includes a link to the YouTube playlist for previous webinar recordings, so you are always welcome to view webinars from this past semester or this past summer, or even before that. Recordings for the fall webinar schedule will be available after the webinar's conclusion. Finally, as a reminder for our presentation, please utilize our Q&A function to ask your questions. You may ask questions at any point during the presentation, but we will have time at the end to ask and answer your questions live. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Megan Brown, our Executive Director for the Center for Student Wellbeing.
Thanks so much, Karina, and thank you all for being here. Your presence demonstrates your care, and this is a lovely opportunity that Emory gives and that you have taken to really learn about the various resources here. And it allows us to partner with you in the education and development of your students here. So thank you for being here. I'm really delighted to introduce to you the Center for Student Wellbeing to highlight, if you could go to the next slide. Thank you. To highlight some of our resources at the CSW and our initiatives, and most importantly, to share with you how you can support your students' well-being wherever you are. But I want to start with a question just for you to reflect on. If you attended college or high school, think back to that time. What do you wish you had had that would have made your college experience better, more enjoyable, or more successful? Just reflect on that for just a moment. What do you come up with? Next slide, Karina. It's taking, maybe it is shifted to the left. I'm not seeing the content.
One moment, let me try stopping my share and sharing again.
Sure, no problem. But I bet for most of you that what you were thinking about and what you may have come up for you were related to one of these 8 elements of well-being. Maybe you wish you had had deeper friendships. Maybe you wish you had had less stress. Maybe you wish you had had more opportunities that would help you grow intellectually or occupationally. Maybe you wish it hadn't have cost so much. Maybe you wish that you had chosen to connect more and study less, or maybe you had wished you had studied more and connected less. Although things have changed since some of us were in college and high school, so many things are that will make our lives better and more meaningful relate to the 8 elements of well-being. And that is what we are about at the Center for Student Wellbeing. We believe that every student must be able to take full advantage of the extraordinary learning opportunities that are at Emory, and that well-being is necessary in able to do that. So the university has invested in several departments, not just one, to really help students take advantage of and benefit here, supporting their well-being, which will help them even beyond. Next slide, please. And this may be a little cut off too. I'm not sure if you're seeing that or not, Karina, but my screen, it's only half. And I'm not sure if others are seeing that as well.
No worries. Let me try something different.
Okay, but I'll go ahead and talk. So the Center for Student Wellbeing it's still only half of the graphic. It feels like it's stretched out.
Okay, I am sharing my full desktop. Um, Let me see.
But I'll go ahead anyway. So the Center for Student Wellbeing is housed in the Division of Campus Life. Uh, and within that is the Health and Wellbeing team, which is made up of Counseling and Psychological Services, otherwise known as CAPS, the Office of Respect, which is to support those who have experienced interpersonal violence, the Student Health Services, that's medical support, and then my department, the Center for Student Wellbeing. So 4 offices that collaborate very closely. And as you can see, other offices focus a lot of time and energy, not exclusively, but on helping students once there is a health or well-being issue. The Center for Student Wellbeing really focuses on optimizing well-being and preventing health and well-being issues in the first place. So the Center for Student Wellbeing is a newly expanded office that is charged with providing data-driven, evidence-informed, holistic health promotion to advance the well-being of all Emory students. And that's a really big job. And we know that we can't do it alone. If it takes a village to raise a child, it takes an entire university community to educate a college student. And that community includes faculty, staff, students themselves, alumni, and you, our family members. And the science agrees, and that's what this graphic is about. If we want flourishing students, we need to infuse well-being across the social ecology and into every aspect of a student's life. That includes teaching them well-being skills at the individual level, but it also looks at the relationships between people on campus and equipping all community members with the skills to care for each other. And we also want to create an environment or environmental conditions so that all students can thrive and make it easy to thrive, not making it more difficult. I think we're still cut off, but the graphic, if you're not able to see the whole thing, has individual, interpersonal, and community and environment on it. So you can see what is included in that social ecology. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is a little cut off as well. But the research suggests that there are 3 skill areas that can help all of us to flourish more. Meaning making, such as values, spirituality, purpose, and making a contribution. Social connection, feeling cared about, gratitude, compassion for others, and things like forgiveness. And then regulatory skills, such as emotion regulation. How do you respond when difficult things happen? Getting enough sleep, being focused, resilience. And all of these skill areas overlap and they're related. Our goal at the Center for Student Wellbeing is to develop opportunities for students to learn and practice these kinds of well-being skills and collaboratively create an environment where these areas are a natural part of the environment and culture. I want to tell you about some of the resources. There's too many to share all of them today, but a few of the resources and initiatives that are helping us towards those goals. Next slide, please. Here is a really brief overview of some of the resources and how we work at the Center for Student Wellbeing. We provide programming on the 8 elements of well-being by going to residence halls and clubs. And we recently did our first well-being festival, which was an amazing experience and really communicates to the community that this is a priority for us. We have started providing consultation on well-being curriculum infusion, creating relationships with the faculty and instructors to how can well-being be infused into any kind of curriculum. This is just the beginning, but it's a really exciting opportunity to infuse well-being and the openness and with so many faculty members is just amazing. We have different health programs that students can sign up for, such as snoozology, learning about sleep, a self-paced program. And we really want to create a wide variety of different health education opportunities. We have a strong sexual health program that includes Sexpert course and regular HIV testing. And one of our new programs that I'm going to highlight a little bit more is well-being coaching, which has taken off wonderfully. And there's so much more that we have, as well as so much that we're developing. But let's go a little bit deeper into well-being coaching. Next slide, please. So well-being coaching is a new initiative from the center that is really focused on fostering meaning, social connection, and those self-regulation skills. Coaching is free. And it is action-oriented, solution-focused, and a collaborative goal-setting opportunity for all of our students. It is not therapy, which is a very different process. Coaching is a process that assumes that students are creative, resourceful, and whole. And through powerful questions can find solutions to their own problems. So it is super empowering for students to participate in this process. Well-being coaching was just introduced, as I said, at the beginning of the school year. And last week, we had on record 116 appointments already. And we've surpassed that this week. The top issues are not a surprise. They're stress, time management, and academics. But students are finding this a really powerful experience. An undergraduate student came to our center for coaching recently, and they were thinking of transferring out of Emory. Thanks to coaching, that student uncovered what they were missing, and that was social connection. They had a strong community where they came from and realized that they didn't have that at Emory. They developed with their coach a strategy to change that. And that student came in just last week and said that thanks to coaching, that they have found a friend group and no longer are thinking about transferring. That student didn't need counseling, but needed support to tap into the wisdom that she may not even have realized that they had. And I believe a lot of student experiences have been improved already. at Emory through this new well-being coaching service. And that is just the beginning. And if you are able to see it, it's cut off for me, but there's a QR code in the bottom right corner. Will families have these slides or access to these slides? I guess they'll have the recording and can get the QR code there, right?
Megan,
Okay.
it's Danny. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to let you know I can see all of the slides.
You can.
I can
Okay.
see them
Yes.
in their entirety. So I'm
And you
not
can.
sure what's going on for you, but I can see the QR code. I can see everything.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you
My
so
apologies.
much.
I wanted to let you know there's a couple of families in the chat who also said they can see the whole thing.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad to know that
Yes.
then.
Thank you.
Next slide, please, Karina. So some of you may have heard of an initiative that was started last year that is called Reframes. Reframes is a campaign that uses storytelling, and it's stories told by faculty and staff. And this was done both at the Atlanta and Oxford campuses. A suite of portraits and video vignettes displayed physically and digitally over the course of the spring semester. Next slide, please. The goals of this initiative are to normalize and provide practical tools and skills for managing the unexpected in life or disappointments, to challenge wildly held beliefs that mistakes, failures, and hopes and goals are now unreachable, and to recognize that we all struggle and sharing those stories. It's cut off for me, and so I'm not reading my slide very well, but recognize that we all struggle, and sharing those stories helps us to move through them together. This has been a powerful opportunity that we are continuing at the Center for Student Wellbeing is promoting. And I'd love for you to see one of those videos if you haven't seen them before. Could you play that, please, Karina? I am not hearing sound. Is anybody else?
No worries. I
I
think I
could
know.
not, yeah, I did not hear the audio. I think we just need to restart.
Try now.
My name is Joanne Williams. I am the Director for Student Engagement at the Rollins School of Public Health at Emory University. I was actually a student at Emory myself. Growing up, especially as an Asian American woman, I was really drawn to, the field of medicine. I didn't really understand what public health was at the time. And so for the longest time when I was in college, I really wanted to become a doctor. And I felt like I took all of the steps to really feel like that I could make it into medical school until I didn't. And so with that said, there was a feeling of failure, and there was a feeling of disappointment and even a little bit of an identity crisis that I experienced. So a moment of struggle for me was that I kept taking the MCAT and my scores were too low for admission. And, what I really had to reflect on was what were things that filled my cup? What were things that made me happy? And when I was in college, it was more so of engaging in student life, working in res life and advising students as a peer mentor and as a resident advisor. After getting more experience in community capacity building and understanding what's required of the field, and also getting more experience in advising students, that was kind of how I found my way. And so what I learned from that experience is that when a door closed for me and when I figured out that there was something that really just wasn't meant for me, a window opened and I just took it. I just crawled out of the window and found out, the job and the role that I was supposed to be doing all along. There is no perfect version of you. You're constantly changing and evolving into the person that you're always meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Karina. So these stories have been so powerful. I want to say not only for students, but all of us who have witnessed these stories. And you can see some of the comments that students have made about watching these videos. And I'll give you a moment to look at them. As you can see, powerful lessons come from hearing the stories of others who we may identify with. And this was the one of the many benefits from sharing these stories. Next slide, please. And students then had opportunities to reflect on not only the stories of others, but their story. And next slide, please. And look at the lessons that they could gain from the unexpected. And not only the process of reflecting upon their stories, but sharing it with other students and becomes a circular, very powerful message to each other. Next one, please. So the Reframes campaign, to me, is more than a campaign. It's a movement. It's a movement to help every student at Emory know they can be themselves. And that is necessary for flourishing. Seeing these stories told by staff and faculty and administrators several months ago is one of the reasons why I chose to work at Emory. I'm so proud to work with colleagues who are willing to be vulnerable to help our campus be a safer place for all students. So Reframes is not a one-off campaign. It's something that we will continue as long as it is effective for our students. And this year we are deepening and broadening the project by facilitating Reframes conversations within identity groups such as the Black Student Union and Emory First. And we plan to expand the campaign even further, hopefully next semester, with students telling their own stories. And you can be involved in Reframes as well. Next slide, please. So the real key in being a part of Reframes is connecting with your student, having open channels of conversation. And that can be easier said than done when our students go off to college and they're very, very busy. But check in whenever you can on all aspects of your students' lives. Ask open-ended questions, be curious, without being nosy. That is the key. Then listening. You ask the questions, but then listen non-judgmentally. And express joy when they're happy and real compassion and empathy when they're disappointed. Because that affirms their feelings and allows them the permission to be who they are, and they're more likely to come back and share more with you if they feel that you are supporting what they're feeling. And minimizing makes them go away. But there's also an opportunity, and we should be careful with this, but to share our own struggles. It should never be a dominant part of the conversation, but when it is appropriate, share a little bit about what you learned. Maybe they come and they are struggling with a class. They don't know if they're going to pass. Listen, and then say, hey, I remember a time when I had that as well, and it's really difficult. And this is what I learned from it. Don't ask them to learn from your struggle or or tell them to learn from what they're struggling. It's really hard to be told what to do. I know we've all experienced that, but at an appropriate time, sharing can be encouraging to them and letting them know that's what you're hoping for them and that you're there to help. And then express your love and your pride no matter the outcome. Let them know you believe in them, and it makes the world of difference for a student to know that family members have their back. And I've included a QR code for one of our resources as a reminder of several of these points. Next slide, please. If you would like to see all the Reframe stories, you're welcome to go to reframes.emory.edu or scan the QR code. Watch these videos and ask your student if they've seen them. If they're new to the university, they may not have seen them before. Encourage them to take a look. And if they have, ask what they thought about them and what resonated with them, and take that opportunity to listen. And additionally, there's a toolkit on one of the web pages. And although it's campus specific, it has some helpful tips and tools for anybody who is caring for someone else. And so that is what I have for you today. And I hope that you will see that we are partners in student well-being. And again, we're so grateful that you've entrusted your students here with us, and you can know that they are cared about here and that we are building resources all the time to help them with their needs. But we need you to partner with us so that their experience is the best that it can be. Curious what questions you may have.
Thank you so much. This has been incredible. We do have a question in the chat right now. What preventative measures and educational programs is the Center for Student Wellbeing implementing to address the issue of underage drinking and reduce the likelihood of alcohol-related harm among students?
Absolutely. Emory is committed to this area. We have just hired an assistant director for substance misuse prevention, and her complete job is to address this issue. Her name is Dr. Monica Keel, and what we are doing is really looking at our data. That is an important piece as we start really looking at the prevention work, so we know where we are and assess what are the biggest issues and where those issues are. And then to collaboratively, not just our center, but there's so many pieces, so many departments who we need to work with, including residential life, student conduct, the Greek life, and our students and even alumni, to look at, here are the issues that we have and what are we going to do to address them. We also have a hazing committee that is really looking at this as an issue, and I'm sure you know the overlap between substance misuse and hazing. And we are looking at policies as well, at how policies can really make a difference in our community and the health of our students.
Thank you. Those of you in the chat and the audience, please feel free to continue asking questions. I have a couple questions as well. So as a parent, if I was a parent, how can I tell if my student is struggling? What if they don't tell me right away?
Yeah. And that's hard. If they are not talking to you, it's going to be hard to know. And they need to be able to be independent adults. And the key is to be able to have regular communication, so that you can see how things are going. And it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask, if you are struggling, um, and you're not telling me, I want you to know that I want to be there for you. So if you know that your student has isn't may tend to isolate when things are difficult, that is being preventative and saying things ahead of time that, I'm here for you, is great. Another possibility is to let your students know, remind them of various resources, because what we know about this age group, they tend to go to their peers first. And but their peers don't necessarily know what to do. But being able to remind your student about various resources, and that they are open, hoping that that will help them to be open to using those resources, could be really helpful as well. I'll add, Karina, that if behavior changes in some way, so if you normally talk, maybe on a weekly basis with your student, and that doesn't happen, those are signs. So when there's any kind of behavior change, to be able to check in and be direct. Ask, I noticed that you didn't call like you usually do on Sunday night. Is something wrong? How can I help?
Thank you. Another question, how are the students themselves introduced to all of the well-being resources available to them at Emory?
Yeah. Emory has so many wonderful ways to communicate with students. So the first year students in particular have a class that introduces them to all the resources that are valuable. And then throughout the academic year, there are opportunities. There's great communication from campus life via newsletter, but lots of different departments and resources on campus cross-communicate various well-being resources. So it is a challenge to communicate, but it's just something that is being very intentionally done. And I would say that the course for all, actually two courses. There is, Karina, you can help me if you remember is it ECS? I can't remember what it stands for.
Yes,
Emory.
ECAS, I want to say it's ECAS 101, but it's
It is. It's ECAS
Yeah.
101 for all first semester students.
Yes. And then there's Health 100 that really reinforces and teaches a lot of different health and well-being, not just resources, but actual health education and practices. And we have the opportunity to collaborate and help promote the various resources as well.
Thank you. So this is, I think, a common question that I receive from parents as well, just throughout the year. But also thinking about reframes and this incredible campaign. I want to support my student, but I also know that they are capable of achieving really great things. So how do I provide that support while encouraging them to reach their fullest potential?
People who, when we believe in someone, that creates the greatest motivation. We are all inherently motivated to succeed at things that we are committed to. There really isn't a whole lot we need to do except to express that we believe and be available when things become difficult. There really isn't a whole lot that we have to be aware of, except giving that love and support that parents know how to do. Um, I think when things are difficult, it's really helpful to know what resources are available so you can help your student to reach out and connect to things. But the assumption is that students want to succeed. They want to do well. And oftentimes it's about getting out of their way to support them in doing that. So that may not be the kind of answer that someone is looking for, because love is a huge motivator. And I think that is the easiest thing that we can do and the most effective.
That is an incredible answer. Thank you so much. I will ask one more question and then we will move into wrapping up. But we've gone over a lot of stuff today and your office is very comprehensive. What is one thing that a parent or family member watching should take away from this presentation and go tell their student?
Oh, that's such a great question. I want to make sure that I think about it uh, and not regret later on. It's like, oh, I wish I had said that. One thing that they should take away, you know, I think I have a handful of things. I would love for families to check if their students have seen reframes. Uh, it is powerful, and so many of our students are have learned to be perfectionists and are hard on themselves. That's how they've gotten to a top university. And that can really get in the way. And it's something that we need to help students to unlearn. And the best way to unlearn it is to realize that they're not alone and that we all struggle and that's normal to struggle and that it is part of growing is about struggling and to normalize that. So if they haven't seen the Reframes campaign, to send them the QR code and have a conversation about it. I think that is one of the useful things. And to let them know about our center because it is new and expanded and they may not know a lot, or it helps to hear things again, and the various resources that we have like well-being coaching could be something that helps them tremendously.
Thank you again, Dr. Megan Brown, for coming and speaking to us about this incredible center. It's a really great resource for students, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day and your lunch hour to come speak to these wonderful families. We are going to go ahead and move into our wrap up. So thank you to all who have attended our session today. We hope you learned something and better understand how to support your students' holistic well-being. We are already nearing the end of the fall semester. We have 2 more webinars lined up before the end of the year. Coming up next, directors from our Belonging and Community Justice Office will be here to tell you how we support various identities on campus, including the Asian Student Center, Emory Black Student Union, Center for Women, Center Latinx, LGBT Life, and Emory First. In December, come hear about Emory's education abroad opportunities. We will have representatives here to tell you all about how your students can earn college credit while studying in a different country. Again, all of this information and more will be available at family.emory.edu. And if you have any questions, my email is family@emory.edu. Finally, before we go, we are proud to announce a care package program, while on the topic of well-being, to wish your students well on finals. Through this QR code, you will be able to purchase a package of various snacks that will be delivered to your student on the week of finals. This is a great way to show your student you care and give them that little push to finish their finals week. Orders will be accepted until November 17th. That is all that we have for y'all today, so thank you again, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on November 15th.
Bye now.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.